Criminal Minded here. And I want to talk about something that I've noticed in the so-called American so-called black conscious community, or should I say our lost brothers who trying to find their way back home. That's how I should refer to them, even though a lot of them are mulattoes, mixed race, you know. But the thing that bothers me the most about the so-called conscious community, there's a lot of things that bothers me about them. But one thing I'm trying to put my head around is they like to give themselves Kemetic names, and there's nothing wrong with that because the original Egyptians, who were the pharaohs and who built the pyramids and all the tombs, were black, dark-skinned black people. Yeah. What makes me laugh is they want to take on the names of the pharaohs and the heroes and the folks of those times. But what they seem to, I don't know whether they are aware of it or they choose to neglect it, but 98% of the Africans who was captured and taken to America are not from Egypt. They're from western part of Africa. So if you conscious brothers are going to take on any name at all, you should be taking names from Western Africa, like Kwame, Osei, Owusu, Kofi, Tundi, Femi, Olu, Mensa. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking on the Kemetic name, but there's only one problem with that. The dark-skinned ancient Egyptians, only a small percentage migrated to West Africa. The majority of the percentage migrated back down to Sudan. Ethiopian Sudan, you know. I mean, South Sudan, or modern day South Sudan, and some few full blacks in Sudan can claim that their ancestral background is from ancient Kemet. In fact, the first pyramids that was built was not in Egypt, it was in Sudan. If you go to Sudan today, you still see the pyramids there. You know? And it's like, look, we need to start dealing with the situation at hand here. Let's stop trying to claim things that is not the factual events. Yeah, you brothers and sisters are more closer, or should I say your lineage comes from Ghana, Nigeria, Mali, Cameroon, Togo, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, Senegal, maybe Liberia, Guinea. Yes, Guinea's there. You know, there's those places is where you guys come from, right? Not ancient Kemet. Yeah, you guys are more bloodlines of Mansa Musa and them people there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. Your bloodline is more of like the Shanghai Empire. You know? And I mean, look, like I said, I haven't got no problem with you guys because the whole of Africa belongs to Africans. But if you're trying to identify where you're coming from the western part. It's like a white European born in America saying I'm from the USA. Yeah, but what part of the USA you from? This I'm from Seattle. You know what I'm saying? My ancestors migrated to Seattle when we first came here, and that's where we've been ever since. That's the kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know that. I mean, if you could just say I'm from the western part of Africa, before it got split into different sections by the colonial powers that be. But to go as far as to say, oh, I'm from Kemet, your bloodline does not trace that far back to Kemet. It traces back to West Africa. In fact, 98 to 99% of you guys, your ancestral background leads back to West Africa. So I would suggest start accepting that and start promoting that more. And you could promote Egypt. I mean, you're not wrong about the historical facts of Egypt. You know, there's nothing wrong with them either. No, there's nothing wrong with you guys taking on the name or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to play no division here. I'm just trying to, just in case you guys, your DNA actually lead back to West Africa per se. I mean, that's where you guys were taken from. You guys were not taken from Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The ancient blacks in Egypt migrated back to where the originality migrated from, which is Sudan. You know? But with that said, there's another thing I want to talk about. And this got to do with my Hebrew Israelites brothers. They're so-called the ones who hate Africans. You guys are funny. And like the question I also want to ask the Hebrew Israelites is, they say like the captives of Israel or whatnot. You guys were not taken from Israel. You guys were taken from West Africa. Israel ain't got nothing to do with you guys' captivity. Oh, sorry, Egypt. Sorry, my bad. You guys were not captive or enslaved in Egypt. You guys were captive in West Africa, in those countries that are named, and you guys were taken from there. Yeah, you guys are more related to people like Mensa, Babatundi, and shit like that than you are to anyone in Egypt. This goes out to the Hebrew Israelites too. Yeah, I mean, as far as I checked, I had these books. I had this book for the Nation of Islam when I was a youngster, and it traced it back to the modern day Hebrew Israelites, and it said in there that the Ashanti tribe is part of the modern day Hebrew Israelites. So I'm an Ashanti tribe. You don't see me screaming, and my lineage stayed in Ghana. My lineage was not part of the captive Africans. So I mean that proves that not all of the Hebrew Israelites were taken out of Africa and enslaved. That's number one. Number two is this, right? The practice of Hebrewism or Judaism was not just destinated to one area. Yeah? You guys are too caught up in the Bible. Like I keep on saying, you guys are too caught up in the white man's understanding. A large majority of people in Africa was practicing that way of life, number one. Yeah? So when you guys start quoting the Bible and start quoting Egypt, number one, you guys were not taken from Egypt. You guys were taken from western part of Africa. Yeah? And another thing is, another thing that also I want to say to my brothers, or should I say, the Africans who was taken into slavery, especially in America. Okay, fair enough. You guys say Africans, and this goes out to the Hebrew Israelites as well. Africans sold you guys into slavery. Fair enough. But let's just speak logically. Logically, it was only West Africans that was dealing the slave trade. So you got Central Africa. You got, East Africa was also forced into slavery as well by the Arabs. So I don't know whether you guys count those people as part of the Hebrew Israelites, but let's just say Central Africa was not part of dealing in slavery, and the Southern Africa was not part of dealing in slavery. So why don't you guys migrate there into the southern part of the African continent? You know that you got Zimbabwe, you got Mozambique, Namibia, and I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't call Angola Southern Africa. I'll call it more Central Africa. You got Congo, you got Central Republic of Africa. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got all these other countries that you guys can. Tanzania. You got all these other countries in Africa that you guys can look to build bridges with. If you don't want to, if you feel offended and claim that we sold you guys into slavery, I really don't get that concept. But hey, like I said, it's either that or you guys just definitely don't want to be part of the losing team. Like I said before, in one of my videos, you know. Because sometimes when you sit there and you're trying to check the logics of you so-called conscious community, well, I'm sorry to say you're not really logical. And it's not an insult or nothing like that. It's just the truth, you know what I'm saying? You know? But hey, each his own. This is a short video. Just something I wanted to get off my chest, and something I just want to put out there. And now I have. Now that's it, really and truly. Ain't not much to be said about that. You know? On that note, criminal minded. I'm not like I stole something, man. As always. Peace.